Loneliness, when silence screams. Loneliness isn't about being alone, it's about feeling alone. And that difference is brutal. You can be surrounded by people, friends, family, coworkers, even that WhatsApp group that never stops sending good morning stickers, and still feel like nobody, absolutely nobody truly sees you. Loneliness is that invisible hole that doesn't show up in a smiling selfie, but eats you from the inside. As if there's a megaphone in your head screaming, "You're all alone in this shit." And do you know why it stings so much? Because humans are hardwired to live in packs, literally. It's instinct, biology, evolution. Out in the wild, alone, you'd be lion food in no time. So we developed this primal desperation for belonging. When your brain senses that nobody's listening to you, understanding you, or holding you, you freak out. It floods you with cortisol, drains your serotonin, makes you feel like the entire world just kicked you out of the party. And the worst part? Sometimes no one even kicked you. You just didn't catch the fake party vibe. Modern society is an expert at mass-producing loneliness, a premium product with free shipping, available 24/7. We've created a world where looking good matters more than feeling good. Social media? A showcase of retouched lives, where everyone has incredible friends, perfect bodies, dream vacations, and toothpaste commercial smiles. Guess what that does? It shoves your self-esteem through the mud and isolates you even more. After all, if everyone's doing so great, why the hell do you feel like a fraud? On top of that, we've been taught to equate loneliness with failure. Alone? There must be something wrong with you. No partner, no busy schedule, not the center of attention, you're a social pariah. The result? A bunch of people diving into meaningless relationships, hanging out with friends they can't stand, saying yes to everything just so they don't have to face their own inner echo. Loneliness became a monster nobody wants to acknowledge, so we pretend it isn't there. And spoiler? It is. And the more you pretend, the bigger it gets. But here's the irony. Loneliness, even as that emotional gut punch, is also a signal, a warning, an internal scream that something needs to change. Maybe you're surrounded by the wrong people, or you've lost yourself along the way. The problem is that instead of listening to that scream, most of us drown it out with distractions, infinite scrolling, binge watching, alcohol, sex, whatever, anything to avoid hearing our own silence. At the end of the day, loneliness is less about not having company and more about feeling disconnected from yourself, from others, and from life. And as long as we keep selling happiness as a storefront product, that alone in a crowd feeling will remain the plague of our century. So tell me, ready to face loneliness, or will you keep trying to silence that scream with more noise? Solitude, the lost art of enjoying your own company. Solitude isn't isolation. And it's not that bullshit "I'm so cool with myself" line you say while desperately hoping someone will like your latest selfie. True solitude is when you can be with yourself without feeling like you're missing out. It's when silence isn't discomfort, but rest. And that, my friend, is an art form on the verge of extinction. We live in the era of look at me. Likes, comments, followers, engagement. People care more about seeming happy than actually being happy. Solitude goes against all that. It needs no stage, no audience. It's that moment when you're alone, no notifications pinging, and instead of freaking out, you just breathe and realize you're okay. Because you're not trying to fill a hole. You're comfortable in the space you occupy. But hold on, don't mistake this for becoming a hermit. It's not about running away from people, it's about not depending on them to feel whole. Solitude is drinking your coffee alone and not staring at your phone like it's an emotional life raft. It's going for a walk without posting about it. It's watching a movie, laughing out loud, and not needing someone next to you to validate the moment. The problem is that we've been trained to avoid solitude like vampires avoid sunlight. From childhood, we learn that being alone is punishment, exclusion, failure. The kid who sits alone at recess is the weirdo. The person with no Saturday night plans is the rejected one. Adulthood just updates the software. Now you need a packed calendar, an active feed, and a bustling social circle to look like you're doing fine. And if you're not, cue the panic. What's wrong with me? Nothing. Maybe for the first time, you're just hearing your own voice. The truth is, solitude is one of the few places where we truly meet ourselves. No masks, no poses, no filters. And that's where freedom lives. Because when you learn to enjoy your own company without an audience, no one can make you feel empty. You don't depend on others' approval to validate you. You don't need likes to feel seen. You are enough. And that, my friend, is one hell of a superpower. Solitude isn't an endpoint. It's a foundation. It's from there that you connect with others, not hide from them. Those who master solitude live with more presence, more clarity, and less neediness, not because they've turned into Buddhas, but because they stopped running from themselves. So next time you're alone, resist the urge to reach for your phone. Stay. Listen. Enjoy the silence. Who knows? You might discover your own company isn't as unbearable as you were taught to believe. Why we confuse the two. The biggest drama isn't loneliness or solitude. It's the mental mix-up we make between the two. We assume being alone automatically means being miserable, that if you have no plans on a Saturday night, the universe has declared your existence irrelevant. Spoiler, as promised, being alone isn't the same as feeling alone. But try explaining that to a brain that's been conditioned to avoid any crack of silence as if it signals personal failure. The reason for the confusion is simple. Nobody ever taught us to be comfortable with our own company. The world prefers to teach you to be popular, sociable, charismatic, always present in every clique and every event, even if internally you're dragging yourself around. The idea that you can be physically alone, yet emotionally at peace, is as alien as an alien playing sax in your bedroom. We don't learn that in school, from parents, or from Instagram coaches. So any moment of silence triggers the red alert. You're alone. Help. What happens next? A bunch of people desperately trying to look connected 24/7. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone whip out their phone in the middle of nowhere just to avoid having to talk to themselves? So true solitude ends up scaring more than death itself.
Looking lonely? The brutal truth is we fear the judgment that comes with alone. And that fear makes solitude, this capacity to be at peace with yourself, look like disguised loneliness. But it's not. Loneliness is a vacuum. It's an internal cry for connection. It's emotional. Solitude is a choice. It's self-control. It's you saying, I'm fine with myself. I don't need a distraction right now. Only that kind of emotional maturity is harder to face than to flee. So most people choose to avoid any possibility of being alone, even if it means diving into completely empty situations and relationships. Here's the big irony. Some folks are surrounded by people all the time, yet feel an existential loneliness that even marathon therapy can't fix. Why? Because physical presence doesn't guarantee emotional connection. And sadly, most only realize that when all the external noise stops drowning out their own emptiness. The confusion is also fueled by a culture that glamorizes never stopping. If you're alone and not producing, not making money, not leveling up, then you're wasting time. In that context, solitude seems useless. But it isn't. It's the pause you need to recalibrate your mind, clear out emotional trash, and reconnect with what really matters. Too bad it doesn't get likes, so nobody values it. In short, we confuse them because we've been poorly taught, poorly conditioned, and poorly guided. Thinking alone is bad has become normal. But the truth is, understanding this difference can save you from living surrounded by people and still feeling hollow. It's not about the amount of company, it's about the quality of connection. And that starts with yourself. The role of technology, superficial connection in our disconnection. We've never been so connected and so fucking distant at the same time. Everybody's a click away, yet no one's really there. It's like we live in one giant cosmic group chat where everyone talks but nobody listens. And who's conducting this fake connection opera? That lovely, wonderful, soul-sucking monster called technology. Before you start whining, no, technology isn't the villain. The problem isn't the tool, it's the compulsive, automatic, emotionally needy way we use it. Social media, for example, was sold as a bridge to connection, but in practice, it's become a showcase for validation-hungry egos. Every like is a microdose of dopamine. Every notification, a shiny bait on an invisible hook. And bam, you're hooked again. But the moment you turn off the screen, you still feel alone. Why? Because what you have there isn't connection, it's stimulation. Shallow, instant, disposable. We're surrounded by interactions, but starved for real connection. You can have 1,000 friends on Instagram and still have no one to talk to when life hits you in the face. Because those likes don't mean love. Those happy birthday auto messages aren't affection. They're programmed responses from a system that rewards appearance over presence. What's more fucked up, we know this, yet we keep coming back, like an addict who hates what the drug does but can't quit. And here's why. Technology has perfected exploiting our insecurities like nothing else. Feeling lonely? Here, try a dating app. Anxious? Go scroll until your soul goes numb. Bored? Dance videos, jokes, reaction clips, anything to keep you from facing your own void. And of course, the false sense of being together all the time prevents us from seeing how emotionally barren we really are. Notifications create an illusion of importance. Someone thought of me. Nope, it was an algorithm. The truth is, the more you rely on technology to feel connected, the more disconnected you become from yourself. And when silence finally hits, it turns into a monster, because you've lost the habit of listening to your own mind without a TikTok track playing in the background. Technology, used consciously, can bring us closer. But what we have now is an addiction to distraction. And as long as you're busy replying to messages, scrolling feeds, and swapping empty stickers, you'll remain emotionally adrift, believing you're connected just because your phone's heating up with notifications. Want real connection? Turn that damn phone off for a few hours. Go have a coffee alone, but be present. Call someone and ask how they're really doing. No emojis, no gifs, just voice, just listening. It'll feel strange at first because your brain will scream for dopamine, but hang in there. That discomfort is where real reconnection begins, with others and with yourself. How to turn loneliness into solitude without becoming a mountain hermit. Turning loneliness into solitude is like converting emotional trash into fuel. It takes work, no magic, but when you get it right, it's liberating. And no, you don't have to drop everything and meditate atop a mountain. You just need to stop running from yourself like a ghost haunting your own life. First step, face the discomfort. Yes, literally, sit with it. Turn off the TV, close TikTok, put your phone in airplane mode, and allow yourself a few minutes of emptiness. It will feel like an emotional black hole trying to swallow you. But relax, that hole is just the space you never had the courage to occupy. Most people fill silence with noise because they fear what they might hear if they shut up. But if you can't stand your own company, why expect anyone else to? Second, stop romanticizing bad company. Whether it's a friendship, a relationship, a WhatsApp group, don't accept any presence just to avoid your own absence. The result? Superficial, draining relationships that ironically leave you feeling lonelier. Learn to clear your circle even if it means having fewer people around. Better a small circle of good company than a crowd of human noise masquerading as affection. Third, create rituals with yourself. You, the person who'll be stuck with you till the end. It could be drinking coffee while listening to a favorite song, wandering aimlessly, cooking something just for you, jotting down random thoughts in a journal, whatever. The key is to start enjoying your own presence without having to justify it to anyone. Solitude isn't isolation, it's intimacy with yourself, and that's built through practice. Fourth, work on your inner dialogue. You know that voice that calls you a piece of shit every time you slip up? It needs a break. Start noticing how you talk to yourself. If your mind is a toxic wasteland, of course you won't want to be alone in it. Learn to be more honest, kinder, and less of an asshole to yourself. This isn't cheap self-help, it's emotional survival. Fifth, be selective about the noise you consume. Solitude isn't an invitation to boredom, but to quality. Choose what enters your time and mind. It's not about living stimulus-free, it's about not becoming a slave to them. Swap infinite scrolling for a challenging book, a thought-provoking film, or
conversation that goes beyond, "Hey, how's it going?" Feed your mind with something more nourishing than recycled memes. Finally, don't try to reach some perfect state. There is no nirvana where you'll never feel lonely again. Life will oscillate. Some days, solitude will feel like a gift, others like a prison. The trick is to recognize both and keep going. Learning to be at peace with silence is like learning a new language. Awkward at first, but then it opens doors you never knew existed. And no, you won't turn into a hill hermit just because you stopped running from yourself. On the contrary, you'll return to the world with less neediness, more clarity, and best of all, the incredible power to choose connections that truly matter, instead of accepting any crap just to avoid being alone. Solitude as a superpower in a noisy world. In a world that never shuts up, even when you're trying to sleep, knowing how to be alone is like becoming an emotional ninja. While everyone else is numbing themselves with likes, noise, crowds, the rat race, and yet another pointless Zoom meeting, those who cultivate solitude become outlaws, in the best sense. Emotionally balanced misfits on a planet full of freaked out people. Solitude is resistance, and more than that, it's armor against anxiety, emotional dependency, and that sneaky burnout that hits when you can't tell yourself apart from everyone else's expectations. When you learn to be at peace with yourself, you switch off survival mode and start actually living, on purpose, not autopilot. Let's break it down. Anxiety, the boogeyman of the century. Modern anxiety isn't just worry, it's an overdose of stimuli, the feeling that something's always happening and you're missing out. It's FOMO, screaming, if you're not online, socializing, replying, producing, you're falling behind. Solitude is the antidote. It reminds you that not everything needs to happen now, that there's space to breathe, think, and just be, without chasing anything. Solitude is presence without pressure. Emotional dependency, another social poison. Most people don't want a relationship, they want an emotional crutch, someone to fill their emptiness, distract them, validate them. Solitude breaks that cycle. It teaches you to fill yourself first, to discover what you like without someone else's input, to handle your ups and downs without someone holding your hand 24/7. Not because you become an emotional island, but because you learn to be whole before sharing anything with anyone. Burnout, the collapse of those who never stop. The person who wakes up to their phone in their face, sleeps with email open, lives for goals, deadlines, posts, and quotas. In that case, solitude is the emergency brake before the crash. It's when you look in the mirror and ask, who am I doing this for? If your answer is, I don't know, it's time to slow down. Solitude helps you dust off the cobwebs, recalibrate priorities, and remember that you're human, not an extension of Google Calendar. At the end of the day, solitude isn't about isolating ourselves. It's about protecting yourself. It's the mental shield that keeps the world from eating you alive. It's where you rebuild your sanity, your energy, your clarity, and best of all, it's a place only you have the key to. While the world shouts, runs, posts, cancels, and performs, those who master solitude move to a different beat. And that's not escape. It's strategy. It's power. Because once you know how to be truly alone, you'll never settle for losing yourself just to fit in.